Hola, yo soy Trino Treviño y les doy la bienvenida al Club Tesoro. Well, thank you guys a lot for taking the time to do this interview. I'm very excited. Always been a fan of your music. Lots of time I listen to a lot of your tracks while running. So yeah, enjoy a lot the music that you create, not only on the running way, but also on the dance floor. I'm a DJ, so I also play a lot of your stuff in parties over here in Mexico, and people always love it. So yeah, thank you very much for having me. And well, if people don't know, I want to introduce to Seeb. They are Simen and Espen. I hope that I did the right pronunciation of your names. And well, I mean, you have quite an amazing record so far, no? I mean, top remix that was nominated for a Grammy back in the days. You remix Coldplay, Taylor Swift, Clean Bandit, Tough Love, amassed not millions, but billions of plays inside the streaming platforms, which is something super amazing. Is there something you haven't done yet in terms of music successful?
Well, that's a hard question. Simen, what do you think? Do we have a thing we need to try?
No, I just think about it's all always chasing the next song. It's we forget so easily what we've done, so we're constantly hunting for the new big thing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, if people don't know, and I've been reading about you, come from a background of doing bands, no? I mean, the first approach you had with music was trying to do a band by yourselves and testing music in that way. So what got you into music in the first place?
Well, for me, it was, I started out a little bit earlier than Simen, and I was actually into electronic music from the 90s. I used to do house music back in the day. And then I started producing rock bands, indie bands, always other people's music. Then Simen moved into my studio, and I thought, well, this guy is talented. Let's see what he can do. After a few years, he started to produce great stuff. We were always working on the same projects, but we came to this point around 2013, wasn't it, Simen, or a little earlier, where we just got tired of the whole thing and we just wanted to do our own thing. And we started doing that around 2015. And suddenly, we didn't believe anybody would like the stuff that we did because it was sounding so strange and weird. Yeah. But suddenly, it caught on with people. And then, we had to do festivals. Yeah. So that's basically how it started. Simen had a different background, though. You didn't you, Simen?
I started playing piano. I just played keyboards in bands, and I had a band that I wanted Espen to produce, but he never did it, and I don't think he thought it was good enough. But so I had to produce it myself, and I started getting better at it. And I understand that I had a little bit more talent for producing than playing the keyboard, so I started to focus more on producing, and then we started working together, and here we are.
and I mean, I think that pretty much everyone that wants to have a life inside the music industry at some point, I mean, there's a part where we all really love music and we try to do stuff, etc. But then there's a point that I think that pretty much every one of us has passed through, that is, there's a moment, probably, I don't know if for you it's specifically one, or it could be several, but where you know that you could live from music, no? So what was this point for both of you?
For us, it was, I would say we've been living off music for a long time, but when we started to see that people were responding to the first remixes we did, like the Ibiza record and stuff like that, we understood that this is something we just got to keep on doing, and we can make a living from this. But sometimes you get to this point also when you do music because you love music, and suddenly you've been doing it for a long time, and you realize that this is now business. It's not only your hobby or the thing you love to do, but it's suddenly become a business. Mm-hmm. And we realized that a couple of years ago, and that's kind of like, I wish I could have put that side of it away. and got back to like the genuine like love of music and only that, and not the business. But we have to do both, and I think it's working now. But it's easy to forget about the business side of things.
Yeah,
the more success we had, the more things we have to relate to. There were so many things going on, and we could suddenly start DJing, and so many people wanted to collaborate with us, and we had to make so many choices. We were like sweating in the studio.
Yeah. I mean, I can imagine, and I mean, probably this could also be linked to. I mean, I myself, I don't consider very a guy that knows a lot about this topic in specific, but I probably have seen what's happening with the NFTs, no, and all the conversation that has evolved around that, and the creation of music and selling it, but not really selling it. I mean, that's something that I think right now it's going to be not well. I personally don't think it's going to be a game changer in terms of how the whole industry is going to evolve, but it's putting some conversation on the table related to that.
I think if you have a big following, then NFT maybe will be a future, but for smaller artists, I'm not sure it's the future.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's interesting. So I mean, you talk a lot about when you started 5 years ago now, with this project as Seeb, as people know it. So how has this ride been for you till 2021? That, I mean, I think that you probably have a lot of interesting stories through these years, no?
There's a lot of strange things.
This is all the people we've been working with on the album.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's like it's really nice because, as we said in the previous interview, we are mainly like collaborators. Like we need to work with the artists and songwriters to create the Seeb records, and we look at this poster with all these great artists, and it's really like a privilege to be a part of it together. So it's it's really nice.
It's also been a very steep kind of like since 2015, from sitting in the studio and being producers and not having to do anything else than just make music. Suddenly we, as I said, we had to do festivals. We had to learn how to DJ. I mean, you've probably been a DJ all your life, but it's hard. I mean, it was a very steep learning curve for us. I mean, and we're not so young anymore as well. So we had to really like jump into the whole thing with both of our feet, and not try to think too much about how things were going or where we were going. I mean, just surf the wave. Okay. And here we are 5-6 years later with so many crazy stories that I could probably write a book about them. It's insane, but it has been a lot of fun. That's the main takeaway, I think.
For sure. And I mean, why did you decide to do it as DJs and not as a live act performers?
Because in 2015 it was like we were like surfing on the EDM wave, because before we started Seeb, we weren't that into EDM. We were more like a pop producers, but we have always been interested in dance music. Like we like to make like danceable pop songs, and we started remixing. Suddenly we're on Tomorrowland. Like, how are you feeling?
With all the confetti and
it's crazy. It's like, I don't know how we ended there.
So the whole DJ thing was kind of random, really, because festivals were starting to call us, and we had to do like, I think our first festival was 20,000 people, and we had one song. We had the Ibiza record. We didn't have any. I mean, we probably had the Breed record as well, but we had like 2 of our own songs. Mm-hmm. And so we basically had to play like 99% of other people's music. And it's obvious that we needed to DJ to get this thing rolling. But now we have so much material that we, the next time we start gigging again, we are going to do like a hybrid of the DJ set with live elements, because we've always been musicians, and that's something we've had always.
It's more natural for us to, like, just saying that for us it was more natural to like play instruments on stage and have like singers together with us. It feels more natural for us rather than just being pure DJs.
Yeah. So this made me wonder one question. One is, did you ever feel that this was it hard to not be related as a one-hit wonder project in some way? I mean, right now you already proved that it was not the case, no? But at that time,
I don't know.
I think we still kind of like view this as kind of like a one-hit wonder because Ibiza record got so big. But we have like only thing that worked, and we disappeared after that. But I really must say that I think the most exciting things is lying ahead of us, and I'm basically very surprised and very happy that people are listening to our music, and we try not to think so much about it.
Yeah.
So we just gotta like surf the wave.
And I think that something that was super important that you mentioned is how, when you created a successful track, people started to call you for festivals and to show, etc. And I think that that's something super important because, for example, over here in Mexico, I speak with a lot of up-and-coming DJs and producers, and all of them are always worried on how to get booked, how to show their image in social media, etc. And I always encourage them to just make music, no? And what you are saying is like the statement of how music can open, how it unlocks you a lot of opportunities, no, outside.
Yeah,
it definitely does.
You need to have great songs if you want to build your career also as a DJ. Now you can't just play records. You have to release your own songs to build like your own platform, because there's so many out there now, and you need those songs to lift you up.
Yeah, for sure. So one of the things that you also talk a lot about is that you want to represent Scandinavia in music genres. So what are the sounds of Scandinavia? How can we differentiate them when we are listening to your tracks?
It's I would say the sound of Scandinavia, or at least Norway, is silence. A
lot of snow.
Yeah, a lot of snow, a lot of nature sounds. Simen, do you have a good explanation for this?
You hear the wind through the trees, and like a nice melancholic vibe in there. So it's like it's a little bit of sadness, but also joy. It's like a mix, I feel, in our songs. That's typical for us. We don't like to have it too happy or too sad. We like to have it like a mix. We have both in a way. It's kind of a balance. We try to find in our music the melancholic and the uplifting.
So early this year, you released an album called Sad in Scandinavia, which I was reading early this morning an article on how quarantine has helped a lot of people to discover themselves and their true selves, because now they don't have to fulfill the expectations of people, no? So, for example, I have a very close case of one of my friends that he used to work in advertising and he was working with an agency, etc. And now he discovered that he has a true talent for cooking burgers, and he's selling the burgers super successfully over here in Mexico City, and he's doing super well. So at the end, he discovered that he was very talented for doing cooking, and you were explaining in the statement about the album that you also rediscovered yourself in studio while you were producing these tracks, no? So how was the creative process on doing this?
It was a little bit the whole process started before the lockdown, but as the lockdown progressed, we kind of were forced, I mean, like your friend, to take a hard and long look at ourselves and figure out what we were doing, and start to ask some big questions, because you're left so much to yourself, and so all these things kind of influenced us heavily. But we were in a very lucky situation because we had kind of like since it's very sparsely populated here in Norway, I mean, it's easy to meet people in compared to let's say Mexico City or Manhattan or whatever. So we were able to have a lot of people down in the studio to work with us. So the whole process was really very, very positive and very much filled with kind of like hopeful thoughts of the future. And we're still thinking of like, at some point now, this probably some of the songs on the album would fit perfectly on a festival in the future, or something like that. We try to keep those thoughts in our heads.
Also, we were lucky because we had some nice sessions a couple of months before the pandemic. We had like Good Boys and Zach Abel in the studio. So we were fortunate to have them in here and record some great songs. And also we've been used to like working through the internet, sending stuff back and forth. And it's a very common way of working.
Yeah.
Even though it's not a pandemic, so it's for us, it's... Yeah, but as you said, it's like the pandemic, it makes you stop a little bit and reflect, and we try not to repeat ourselves and just try new stuff like all the time. So this album also, you can hear that we try different genres and try like not to just do the same kind of sound we're well known for on the Ibiza remix.
And I mean, speaking about creating an album, I think it's a very good statement right now, because not all producers or artists are releasing albums. No, everyone is like pretty much releasing singles every day. So what did you place the tracks in a specific order in terms on people should really listen to it from 1 to 17, or what's the story as a whole of the album?
Yeah, I mean, there are some older songs on there which we were in doubt of whether we should include them or not, but it kind of like it felt right to include songs like Free to Go, for instance, that was written before we started the album project. But the whole thing came together as kind of like, we started out to thinking this would be kind of a good compilation, but hang on, compilation, that's for young people. We grew up with albums, and we were starting already from the first songs that were specifically written for the album. We started to try to figure out how to, patch everything together as a puzzle. And so some of the songs are actually meant to be album tracks to fit together with the tracks before and after. But it's difficult for people like us who are so bound to doing singles all the time, because there are different rules for singles, and you feel very like trapped inside those boundaries. Like you have to do a single arrangement, you have to do this and that. So we were kind of we tried as good as we can to make it into an album. And the criticism we have gotten for the album over in Norway has been good, but the only thing everybody is saying is that you put too many songs on there. And that might be true. I'm not sure, but 17 songs is a lot.
No, I think it's a perfect amount of tracks to listen at. So no, but yeah, I mean, that's a personal perspective, no? Like you said, some people would enjoy a lot, but some would prefer less, no? But I mean, yeah, that's super subjective. So, well, just to wrap this up, I would like to know, in your perspective, what do you think would be the future of dance music? Because I mean, I've been speaking about this with a lot of other DJs and artists, and we all have this dream that, I mean, it's not going to be something that it's going to open in one day, like tomorrow everything's going to be open again and we're back into festivals, but we all think that it's going to be something super epic in terms that people are really going to give their lives in the dance floor, no? So what do you expect when all of this starts to open again?
I know for sure people have been wanting to dance for like hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And they will still dance. And now, because of the pandemic, people really want to go out and dance together. So I think maybe this summer it's a little bit premature, but maybe after the summer and to the next year, I think the festivals will be back in business and everybody will just go crazy.
Yeah. I think you will have a revival of electronic music. It's been a little bit on the decline for a couple of years, but it's getting back.
Yeah.
It's going to blow up, I think.
It's always in circles. Yeah. But everybody wants to dance, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you also have a track that I like a lot in your album. It's called Last Dance. And the lyrics are like like calling to that, no? Like do enjoy yourself in the dance floor, because you never know when this is gonna be your last dance. I mean, last year we didn't know when was gonna be our last dance. I mean, we were pretty much in automatic living our lives, and then all of a sudden everything stopped all around the world. So
you never know. You gotta enjoy life while you can.
Yeah. So people should make that track an anthem for coming back. Well, thank you very much, guys. It was a real pleasure to talk with you. And I don't know if there's a way that producers or DJs want to have feedback from you, etc. What is the best place that they can connect with you?
Actually, now we have this remix competition that through the website. Is it Skio?
Skio, yeah. You can find the link on our Instagram or Facebook page, and we are releasing the best remixes. We have there are hundreds and hundreds of remixes coming in all the time.
Awesome.
So we're open.
Yeah. And also people can reach us on our Instagram, like a DM there. Sometimes we would like to answer if people are interested in our music and if they produce themselves. Yeah.
Awesome. So people should participate on this remix contest. I think that they're going to
do that.
Have a great time. Well, thank you very much, guys. Such a pleasure. And
likewise.
Hope to meet you soon in person and in a festival and to enjoy ourselves there.
We will. Thank you for having us.
No, thanks to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, man.
Esto es un episodio más de El Club Tesoro. Mi nombre es Trino Treviño y les agradezco una vez más a todos ustedes que nos escuchan en todas partes del mundo. Recuerden compartir el podcast si es que les gustó, para que se puedan suscribir más de sus amigos y podamos comentar mucho más sobre estos temas. Yo estoy en las redes sociales como @Trino DJ, así me encuentran como Trino DJ en Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube y SoundCloud. Así como también pueden visitar mi sitio web, que es www.trinodj.com, donde cada semana estoy subiendo artículos relacionados al mundo de la música, así como entrevistas y también los programas de radio, donde cada semana estreno mucha música. Una vez más, les agradezco. Espero puedan comentar este podcast con todos sus amigos y me dará mucho gusto saber de ustedes en las redes sociales. Nos escuchamos el siguiente episodio. Hasta pronto.